Everything we've been waiting for is finally here. Secrets are out, alliances are broken. And the Festival of Beltane is about to change everything. Episode 5, titled Need Fire, takes the story to a whole new level. Relationships are tested, lies are exposed, and some characters are about to face the kind of consequences that can't be undone. This isn't just another chapter, it feels like the real turning point of the season. So let's start with Julia, because honestly, this woman's entire plan is hanging by a thread. Remember how in the last episode she was trying to hold everything together, pretending to keep Simon close while secretly aiming to get to the stones and time travel back to Henry? Well, in episode 5, that balancing act comes crashing down. Mr. Porter goes straight to Brian with the truth, throwing Julia under the bus by saying she's carrying Simon's child. The problem is, Brian already knew Julia was pregnant when she first arrived. He knew she had come looking for her husband, but hearing it in this way makes Brian question her motives. Was Julia ever really being honest with him, or was she just using Simon as a shield? That's where everything gets messy. Brian doesn't just feel betrayed, he feels trapped. Helping Julia escape now would mean defying his own father and risking everything, since Simon already believes the child is his. If Brian gets caught helping her, it won't just ruin his reputation, it could destroy his entire family. That's why the synopsis warned us, Julia loses allies when her secrets come out. And this right here, this is the moment where Brian starts pulling away. You can almost feel that bond between them cracking, piece by piece. But here's the twist, Julia isn't backing down, her plan is still locked on Beltane. The one day when the veil between worlds is thin enough for time travel. She wants to get to those stones, no matter what, even though Henry's fate is still uncertain. Julia's convinced he's somewhere in the past. She doesn't just want to find him, she needs to. Because if she fails, she's stuck in this world with enemies closing in from every side. That desperation makes her dangerous. And episode 5 shows us just how far she's willing to go. Now, this betrayal might seem like the end of her alliance with Brian, but I don't think it's that simple. Julia has a way of pulling people back in, even when they think they're done with her. Maybe Brian will distance himself. Maybe he'll even tell himself he's finished helping her, but when the stakes rise, when Beltane comes, he might not be able to walk away. That's the thing with this show, nothing is ever as final as it looks. And here's something else worth thinking about. If Julia really does try to travel at Beltane, and if the stones actually respond to her, what does that mean for her unborn child? We've seen in Outlander that not everyone has the time-traveling ability, it's genetic. Unpredictable. Could the baby be the one who makes the jump instead of Julia? Could that explain some of the mysteries about Claire's parents and why her childhood ended the way it did? Episode 5 doesn't give us all the answers, but it drops enough hints to keep us guessing. So Julia's truth is out, Brian feels betrayed, and the festival is just around the corner. Everything about her storyline is screaming tension and risk, and honestly, this is the most dangerous she's been since the show started, not because of her enemies, but because of her own secrets catching up with her. If Julia's storyline is all about secrets and survival, Ellen and Brian's story in episode 5 is about temptation and danger. And let's be real, this is the episode where their chemistry stops being a whisper and turns into a full fire. We've already seen sparks between them in the earlier episodes, but this one puts them right in the middle of Beltane, where every rule is meant to be broken. The episode makes it clear that the stakes aren't just about love anymore, they're about honor, reputation, and survival in a world where one wrong move can start a war between clans. Now, if you remember, Ellen is supposed to marry Malcolm Grant. That's the arrangement, and both families are depending on it. The Grants see it as a powerful alliance, and the Mackenzies need it to strengthen their position. But Ellen, her heart has already betrayed the deal. She's falling for Brian, and every look they share is proof. In episode 5, the tension comes to a head at the Beltane Festival, where they're surrounded by fire, music, and eyes watching their every move. Somehow, despite the danger, they end up dancing together. And the question that instantly hits is, how the hell do they get away with this in front of everyone? The truth is, they don't really. Maybe people don't see every detail, but the energy between them is too strong to hide. Even the trailer showed us glimpses of it. And now we see that it's not just imagination, it's happening right there under the firelight. Ellen isn't just testing the waters, she's stepping right into a storm. Jocasta warns her, Ned warns her, even Malcolm's presence is a reminder of what's at stake. But Ellen can't pull back anymore. It's like the fire of Beltane doesn't just burn sins, it exposes truth, and her truth is Brian. What makes this episode even more thrilling is how layered Brian's position becomes. On one side, he has his duty to his family. His father expects him to stay in line, to respect alliances, and to protect their honor. On the other side, he has Ellen, who represents everything he wants but can't have. Episode 5 forces Brian to face the fact that he's standing on a knife's edge. One slip, one wrong move, and it's not just his future at risk, it's Ellen's safety too. Because if the Grants ever suspect she's not loyal, that marriage deal could collapse. And both clans could go to war. And then there's Murdoch. Remember how we said last time that Brian needed to tell him the truth before it was too late? Well, Episode 5 makes that regret hit hard. Murdoch sees them. He catches that moment between Brian and Ellen, and the look of betrayal on his face says everything. It's not just jealousy, it's heartbreak, anger, and the feeling of being lied to. He thought he knew Brian, he thought he understood where Ellen stood, and now, watching them together, he feels like the rug has been pulled from under him. This is one of those moments that changes everything. Murdoch isn't just another character, he's a witness, and in a world like this, a witness can become the spark that lights the fire of conflict. But here's the part that really keeps you hooked. Ellen isn't some naive girl swept up in love, she knows the danger. She knows the weight of every step she takes. And still, she chooses Brian. That choice says everything about her character. She's brave, reckless, and willing to risk her future for the kind of love that people write legends about. The irony, of course, is that this love is exactly what will create the legacy of Jamie and Claire. We're watching the beginning of a story that we already know will matter generations later. And that knowledge makes every stolen glance, every forbidden touch, feel 10 times heavier. The festival itself plays a huge role in this episode. Beltane isn't just a backdrop, it's a symbol. The need fire, kindled by friction and believed to burn away sins, becomes this powerful metaphor for Ellen and Brian. It's about burning away fear and stepping into their truth. For the clans, it's about purification and unity. But here's the catch, the same fire that's meant to protect can also destroy. One misstep, one exposed secret, and Beltane could become the night that everything falls apart. That's what makes this episode so gripping. You're watching beauty and danger dance side by side, never knowing which one will win. And let's not forget Malcolm Grant. He's not the villain we expected, right? He's polite, respectful, even kind in his own way. That makes things even more complicated. If he were cruel or power-hungry, it would be easy to root against him. But he's not. Which means Ellen's choice isn't just a rebellion against her family's wishes. It's a rejection of a man who doesn't deserve it. That complexity adds another layer of guilt and tension. It's not black and white, it's messy, human, and painfully real. Episode 5 doesn't give us a happy ending for Ellen and Brian, it gives us a warning. A warning that love the strong doesn't come without a price. And with Murdoch now carrying the truth like a wound, that price is going to come due sooner than anyone expects. Now let's dive deeper into the Beltane Festival itself. Because Episode 5 makes it clear this is not just a colorful celebration, it's the stage where everything boils over. Beltane has always been tied to magic, mystery, and danger. The need fire, lit by friction and believed to burn away sins, is the centerpiece. Everyone in the Highlands believes in its power. Some see it as protection, others as purification. But in this episode, Beltane doesn't just burn sins. It burns secrets wide open. The festival becomes the place where the truth hides in plain sight. And every character finds themselves tested by it. When the Mackenzies and the Grants arrive, the energy shifts immediately. There's tension in the air, but also an excitement that no one can ignore. For the villagers, it's about dancing, singing, and honoring tradition. For the clans, it's about alliances and appearances. But for our main characters, Julia, Ellen, Brian, and even Henry, it's about fate. Each of them walks into Beltane with their own goal, their own fear, and their own desire. And as the fire rises higher, those goals start to collide. Take Jocasta, for example. She isn't just some background figure watching from the sidelines. She knows what Beltane means, and she sees danger circling Ellen. Her warning is sharp. Maidens often lose their innocence at Beltane. It sounds almost casual at first, but it's really a warning not to step too far, not to make choices that can't be undone. Jocasta knows Ellen's heart is wandering, and she's trying to stop her before disaster strikes. But let's be honest, warnings never really work when emotions are this strong. Ellen hears it, but she doesn't stop. She's already too far gone. Ned joins the list of voices trying to rein Ellen in. He tells her not to do anything reckless, and once again, it's like the show is stacking the warnings higher and higher. It's almost like foreshadowing. When too many people tell a character not to take a risk, you just know they're about to take it anyway, and that's exactly what happens. Ellen keeps moving closer to Brian, not further away. The more people push her to be cautious, the more determined she seems to follow her heart. Meanwhile, Julia is caught in her own storm. She's still stuck in the castle, trying to figure out if she can reach the stones during the festival. From what we see, it doesn't look promising. She's tied down by the web of lies she spun. And now with her allies turning their backs, She's almost trapped, but Julia is never one to give up easily. Even if she can't make it to the festival grounds, you can feel her desperation seeping through every scene. She wants out, she wants to find Henry, and if she can't do it at Beltane, then when? That desperation keeps her relevant even if she's physically away from the firelight. Henry, on the other hand, is actually present at the festival watching. From a distance with Ned, this adds another layer of suspense. He's close enough to see everything unfolding, close enough to witness Ellen and Brian. And yet he's powerless to act. It's one of those storytelling tricks that keeps you on edge when a character you care about is right there but unable to intervene. Henry's perspective makes us feel the festival differently for him. It's not about celebration, it's about searching, waiting, hoping. He's looking for the woman he came for, and the fact that he doesn't find her here only adds to the frustration. It's like Beltane is teasing him, dangling hope just out of reach. Then comes one of the most shocking parts: Brian and Ellen dancing. It's bold, reckless, and honestly, it feels impossible. How do they stand in front of everyone, under the glow of fire, and let themselves be seen together? Is it bravery? Is it foolishness? Or is it love so powerful that they just don't care anymore? The show doesn't answer that outright, it leaves it for us to decide. But what's clear is that this dance marks a turning point. Up until now, their love has been hidden, whispered, or implied. This is the moment it becomes undeniable. They might as well be shouting it to the entire world. Of course, not everyone is blind. Murdoch sees them, and that changes everything. His pain is raw, and his sense of betrayal is deep. He's not just losing Ellen, he's losing faith in Brian, too. And once someone like Murdoch feels betrayed, you know it won't end quietly. He's not the type to keep secrets when his heart is burning. This is the fuse that could set off an explosion. In the episodes to come, and while all of this personal drama unfolds, the festival itself doesn't stop. Fires blaze, people dance, and traditions continue as if nothing is wrong. That's the beauty of this setup. The world keeps moving. Even as the characters' lives fall apart, it creates a sharp contrast. On the surface, it's joy and unity. Underneath, it's betrayal and heartbreak. That duality makes Beltane more than just a setting, it makes it a mirror, reflecting both the beauty and the danger of the choices being made. By the end of the festival scenes, you can feel the weight of what's been set in motion. Ellen and Brian have crossed a line they can't step back from. Julia's lies are pushing her closer to collapse. Henry's search is still unresolved, and Murdoch is carrying the kind of anger that can ignite bigger conflicts. Beltane was supposed to be about burning away sins, but instead, it feels like it's feeding them, making them stronger, brighter, and harder to ignore. Episode 5 doesn't give us closure here, it gives us fire. Fire that will keep burning in the episodes to come. And if Beltane taught us anything, it's that once a flame like this is lit, it doesn't go out easily. By the time the fires of Beltane die down, the real damage is already done. Episode 5 shows us that every secret, every lie, every forbidden choice comes with a price, and now those prices are starting to collect. Julia, Ellen, Brian, and even Henry each walk away from the festival with more weight than they had before. And what's most chilling is that the consequences don't just belong to them alone. Every choice they made threatens to ripple out and hit everyone around them. Let's start again with Julia, because her situation is on the edge of collapse. Mr. Porter's revelation that she is carrying Simon's child might have seemed like a simple accusation, but it's far more than that. It puts Julia in a position where no one knows what to believe. Brian already feels she's been hiding too much, and the rest of the castle sees her as manipulative at best and dangerous at worst. She's running out of allies fast. The synopsis for this episode warned us Julia loses support when her secrets come out. And you can see it happening right here. The more she tries to explain, the less people want to hear. It's not that she's weak, it's that she's desperate, and desperation makes people around her nervous. The irony is, Julia's intentions aren't entirely selfish. She still believes she's doing this to reunite with Henry, to put her life back together. But the problem is that in trying to protect herself, she's burned every bridge she had. The fact that Brian may now be unwilling to help her is huge. He was her strongest link to freedom, and without him, the road to the stones feels impossible. Still, Julia has proven time and time again that she doesn't stop fighting. I think episode 5 is just the beginning of her next plan. She's too smart and too determined to simply give up, even if it means tricking or betraying someone else. Then we shift to Ellen. Her choice is that Beltane can't be undone. Dancing with Brian in front of others, letting her heart take control in the most public way possible. It's reckless, and she knows it. But love has a way of making people blind to danger. What's so striking about Ellen here is that she isn't portrayed as naive. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she chooses it anyway. That's the kind of courage that makes her fascinating to watch. But it's also the kind that leaves scars. Ellen knows Jacasta's warnings, she knows Ned's concerns. And she's perfectly aware that Malcolm Grant isn't some monster she can easily dismiss, and yet, she still leans toward Brian. It's like she's daring fate to stop her. Brian, of course, is trapped in the middle. His loyalty is already split in two between his father's expectations and Ellen's love, but now, with Julia's situation hanging over him as well, he's carrying more than he can handle. The way episode 5 paints Brian is interesting. He isn't just the romantic hero running into Ellen's arms. He's a man being crushed by the weight of choices, and those choices don't have easy answers. If he abandons Ellen, he loses his heart. If he abandons Julia, he risks her being destroyed without his help, and if he chooses either, he risks angering his father and his clan. It's a no-win situation, and that's what makes it so gripping. And then there's Murdoch, the silent witness who becomes the loudest consequence. Watching him see Ellen and Brian together is brutal, because you know that betrayal cuts him deeper than any blade could. The question now is what he'll do with that pain. Does he keep it quiet, swallowing it like poison, or does he let it out and set fire to everything, knowing Murdoch's silence won't last long? His loyalty is fierce. His love is real, and betrayal like this doesn't stay hidden. The longer he carries it, the heavier it will get, and eventually it will explode. Henry's role in all this is quieter but no less important. He's still on the outside looking in, still searching for Julia, still tied to a mission that never seems to bring him closer. In episode 5, we see him with Ned, trying to make sense of what's happening, and it's frustrating to watch him be so near yet so far. But this distance also works as a storytelling trick. It keeps his reunion with Julia delayed, stretched out, and more suspenseful. You can feel that the moment is coming, but the show is making us wait. And the longer they make us wait, the more powerful it will be when it finally happens. What's fascinating is how the theme of fire plays across all these stories. Beltane's flames are supposed to cleanse and protect, but here they seem to expose and destroy. Julia's lies burn through her alliances, Ellen's love burns away her safety. Brian's choices burn through his loyalty, Murdoch's heartbreak burns through his trust, and Henry's search burns with frustration. Everyone is touched by the fire, but not everyone is purified by it. Some of them are simply consumed. And this is where episode 5 really shines. It doesn't wrap things up with easy resolutions. Instead, it leaves us dangling, knowing that the fallout is just beginning. Every character walks away from the festival carrying heavier burdens than before, and we're left waiting to see who will break first. Will Julia's lies finally trap her beyond escape? Will Ellen and Brian's love ignite a feud between clans? Will Murdoch's pain turn into revenge? Will Henry ever find Julia, or is fate determined to keep them apart? This episode doesn't answer those questions, it raises them, and that's why it works so well. Episode 5 isn't the calm after the storm, it's the storm getting bigger, darker, and more dangerous. And if you think this was intense, just wait. Because everything we've seen so far feels like it's only the beginning. What makes episode 5 so powerful is that it doesn't just tell a story in the present, it sets the stage for everything that's about to come. If you thought Beltane was the climax, think again. The way this show is pacing itself, episode 5 feels like the true turning point. The place where the board is rearranged and the stakes rise higher than ever. From this moment on, nothing will be simple again, and that's exactly why fans are buzzing with theories about what could happen next. One of the biggest questions is still Julia's. Now that her secrets are exposed and her alliances are slipping away, what happens to her plan? Does she still make it to the stones, or is she trapped by her own lies? The trailer teased us with moments inside the castle, showing Julia still fighting to survive. But here's the twist: what if she actually manages to reach Beltane but fails to cross? We know from Outlander that not everyone can time travel. What if the stones reject her? That could be the cruelest twist of all. Imagine Julia risking everything to get there, only to realize she doesn't have the gift. That would explain so much about why Claire's parents vanish from her life in the future. It would also mean that Julia is truly stuck, forced to live out her life in the past no matter what. But then there's Henry. His presence at Beltane wasn't just for decoration, he's moving closer to Julia, even if fate keeps delaying the reunion. Some fans noticed that in the official trailer for Blood of My Blood, there was a shot of Henry running past a World War II memorial with the dates 1939 and 1945. That tiny detail suggests something bigger. Henry may not stay locked in the 1920s or 1740s forever. He might move through time again, ending up in a completely different era. If that's true, it raises all kinds of questions. Does he end up leaving Julia behind? Does he check in on Claire's future secretly, making sure she's safe even if she doesn't know it? Or is he just a victim of the chaos of time travel, landing somewhere he never intended to go? And then there's the child. Julia is pregnant, and that changes everything. Outlander has already taught us that the ability to time travel isn't guaranteed. Sometimes it passes to children, sometimes it doesn't, which means Julia's unborn baby could play a massive role in what's coming. Maybe the baby is the one who carries the gift, not Julia. That would explain why certain characters disappear. Why Claire's parents' story is so full of gaps. Imagine the heartbreak of Julia, realizing